Hello, a very good evening to you. Welcome to ITV News and to Thursday night's calendar.
And here are tonight's main stories.
A world first. The Yorkshire hospital that's changing the way some cancers are treated, and the patient from Castleford who's the first person in history to have the procedure.
I've been cutting the grass, I've been walking uptown, I've been doing all sorts of things, and I'm okay, no problem.
We are putting leads on the wall mat, and that is quite amazing.
Fire investigators returned to Marsden Moor to try and find out how yet another blaze broke out.
It took crews from 2 counties several hours to put out the flames last night. The question now is, how did it start?
It's basically like tissue paper, so as soon as we get a few dry days and the sun comes out, the nearest ignition source, spark or naked flame, it will set fire to it.
It could be a massive night ahead for Huddersfield Town.
Neil Warnock's worked wonders here at Huddersfield Town over the last few matches. I'm live here tonight to see if he can complete the job and keep the Terriers in the Championship.
And the coronation celebrations of yesteryear captured on camera. Remarkable footage of how Yorkshire marked previous royal milestones, some of it not seen for 70 years. Hello, thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a world first, a pioneering new cancer treatment carried out in a Yorkshire hospital, which could give hope for patients worldwide.
The new procedure has been trialled in Leeds at the city's cancer centre, and the first person in the world to have the treatment was a patient from Castleford.
Anthony Harris had the cancer on his kidney removed using sound waves, meaning no invasive surgery was needed. Martin Fisher has been to meet him, and he's been hearing from some of the medical team who helped make it happen.
History in the making. This operation to remove a cancerous tumour from Anthony Harris's kidney needed no incisions or needles. Instead, it harnesses the power of sound waves in a world-first operation. To say it's given Anthony a new lease of life doesn't quite go far enough. When the tumour was first diagnosed on his kidney, the outlook wasn't great.
So he said we could freeze it and it'll give you at least another 5 years. So I thought, well, that's the best of the if they're the only options I have, I'll go to have it frozen then.
But then Anthony received a letter asking if he'd be a guinea pig for a new kind of treatment called histotripsy. The procedure uses ultrasound to destroy tumours at a cellular level.
I thought it was a great idea myself, because I'm one of these optimistic people who think, right, yeah, I'll do it, I'll do anything. Anything's better than nothing.
So Anthony came here to the Leeds Cancer Centre to be the first in the world to try and use the new treatment to get rid of his cancer.
To move the treatment head that we have here and move it into the UMC, that is the ultrasound medium container that we have to transfer the energy through the transistor to the patient. We'll target all the lesion, get all the contours inside of our target.
Another advantage of this new method is that no surgery is needed, meaning hospital stays are shorter and recovery times faster.
We are putting leads on the wall mat, and that is quite amazing. And I always tell people I'm a graduate from Leeds Medical School. I never thought that when I went to medical school here in Leeds, in Yorkshire, that I will be here pioneering something on the cutting edge of these technologies.
For Anthony, it meant just an overnight stay, and he was able to return home.
As far as I know, it's gone. Yeah, it like bubbled up and broke away, if you look at the pictures.
You're cured, effectively?
Yeah.
That
I'm
is
fine,
amazing.
I'm fine. I've been cutting the grass, I've been walking uptown, I've been doing all sorts of things, and I'm okay, no problem.
It's hoped this new procedure could change forever how kidney cancer is treated and mean that Anthony is just the first of many to benefit. Martin Fisher, ITV News in Castleford.
Well, certainly good news for Anthony, isn't it? It's incredible, and what a difference it's going to make. Well, you can see more about this world first on the Calendar website. Just go to itv.com/calendar. That's itv.com/calendar.
Next tonight, fire investigators are looking into the cause of the second wildfire on Marsden Moor in a fortnight.
Fire engines, as well as specialist wildfire support units, were called to Manchester Road at Slaithwaite yesterday lunchtime. Teams tackled the flames well into the evening.
Well, today the officer in charge of the response returned to the moorland where the fire broke out to assess the extent of the damage. Well, let's head live there now and join our reporter Michael Billington. And Michael, good evening to you. Have they any idea what caused this yet?
Well, it's really not easy to say at this stage. I'm told that the wind last night not only fanned the flames but sent them swirling across the moorland behind me here. And so, unlike in something like a building fire, working out exactly where the fire began is really difficult. And so working out how exactly it started is an even bigger challenge. Having said that, the fire officer I've been speaking to today has said that nothing at this stage suggests there is any foul play involved. Dry, parched land across another large swathe of Marsden Moor, the familiar remnants of a wildfire which quickly took hold yesterday afternoon.
It is about 2 kilometres square, as you can see, heavily burned. We've just walked the perimeter and across the moor just to find out, is there any still seats of fire, any smoke? No flare-ups at the moment and no signs of smoke, so looks like we've extinguished it all.
Crews from West Yorkshire and over the border in Greater Manchester tackled the fire after it broke out at around 1:30. They spent hours with specialist vehicles and sometimes by hand fighting back the flames. Today an investigation's underway, but officers say they found nothing to suggest the fire was started deliberately. But this land is notoriously prone to burning.
If I use the analogy, it's basically like tissue paper. So as soon as we get a few dry days and the sun comes out, the nearest ignition source, spark or naked flame, it will set fire to it. It's driven by the wind and it soon travels very quickly across the moorland. So that does make it very susceptible.
This afternoon, walkers returned to the nearby Pennine Way after being told to avoid the area at the height of yesterday's fire. The wildfire warnings say crews now more important than ever in the tinder dry conditions.
I've never seen someone barbecuing, but it happens. You know what I mean? They're stupid.
Maybe bottles as well, with the sun shining on the bottle. It's kindling, isn't it? The white grass is just ready to burn.
A lot of it will be barbecues in summer. They come out, oh, it's winter countryside, we'll have a barbecue. And then they leave the mess.
It's less than a fortnight since the last fire on this moorland. It's being treated as arson. And as we approach the summer season, fire officers say it's likely a case of when, not if, there will be the next.
Well, Michael, it certainly sounds very windy up there. Do we know what the impact has been on the wildlife at all?
Well, Laura, that's what they need to look at next. Now, it's the National Trust that looks after this land, and they say their rangers are going to be out on site here over the next week to assess exactly what damage has been caused. Now, that includes mapping the exact and full extent of the fire, as well as trying to work out what, if any, species have been lost. But they say that these kinds of wildfires on moorland like this can be devastating to the land and the animals that live on it, and it could take years for this area to bounce back.
Michael, thank you very much. Live at Marsden Moor.
In other news tonight, 2 men have been jailed for fatally stabbing a Good Samaritan who came to the aid of a teenage girl in Sheffield. 26-year-old Rhys Radford was killed when he tried to help the 17-year-old who was being assaulted on Arundel Gate in the city centre last September. 40-year-old Derek Owuzu and 46-year-old Louis James were found guilty of murder last month. They've been sentenced to a minimum of 40 years behind bars between them.
Voters from across the region have been making their way to the polls for the local elections. The polling stations opened at 7 a.m. today and will stay open until 10 o'clock tonight. More than 500 council seats are up for grabs in 16 local authorities right across our region. We'll bring you all the results from tomorrow morning, and don't forget that you need to take a form of photo ID in order to vote.
Very important, don't forget that, will you? Now then, thank you for being with us for Thursday night's calendar, and still to come on the programme.
Ring for the King will be taking place at churches across our region this weekend. I've been finding out exactly what it involves.
And as all eyes are on the coronation forecast for the next few days, I'll be like this donkey hiding behind a stone wall. It's not all bad news. All the detail a little later on.
Thank you, Kerry. But before all of that, it's time for some sport.
Zero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Yes, and Sheffield United will parade through the city on an open-top bus a week today to celebrate their promotion to the Premier League. The Blades last held a bus tour 6 years ago when they last went up to the top tier of English football. The bus will set off from Bramall Lane at 5:30 next Thursday and arrive at Sheffield Town Hall around an hour later, where the players will be presented to fans before they attend a civic reception.
Now, when Neil Warnock returned to Huddersfield Town as manager back in February, he was given the task of saving the Terriers from relegation to League One.
Well, since then, that wily fox has been up to his old tricks, and now Huddersfield need just a draw from their final 2 games of the season to ensure survival.
Well, the first of those is tonight at the John Smith Stadium against Warnock's boyhood club, Sheffield United. Chris Dawkes is live there for us. Chris, it could be quite the story down there tonight, couldn't it?
Yeah, good evening, Lara. Good evening, Ian, as well. It's funny, isn't it, how football throws up narratives like this. As you say, Neil Warnock needs a point against his boyhood club, the team he supported as a child, and also the team he took to the Premier League 17 years ago now, if he is to complete the Great Escape. But you know what? This is what Warnock does now. We've seen it before at teams like Rotherham in the past. He's taken over clubs who look doomed and rescued them. When he arrived at Huddersfield Town, you know, in February, they were second bottom and many had already written them off. But 5 wins from 13 games has brought Town to the brink of safety. And Warnock says keeping them up would be the greatest achievement of his long career.
It's strange when you play in a team like Sheffield United because they're such a good team, but, you know, are they relaxed and are they going to play better because they're relaxed? You just don't know. So we've just really planned to try and do the best we can. I can't ask any more than what they've done over the last few weeks, the lads. It's been quite an amazing turnaround, really. So to be in this situation is as much as I could have hoped for, really.
Well, believe it or not, last night Warnock got a ringing endorsement from arguably the greatest coach of the modern era. Manchester City's Pep Guardiola was asked about older managers like Warnock, like Sam Allardyce, who's now in at Leeds, of course, and also Roy Hodgson. And this is what he had to say.
Neil Warnock, Huddersfield was in the last, and look now, he's already out for the dangerous positions. So, and I could, express what Harry Rangnick has done in this, in this country. There are many English managers that have done really well.
High praise indeed. Now, I'm playing devil's advocate here, Chris, but what happens if Town don't get the point needed tonight?
Yeah, you play devil's advocate all you want, Lara, but yeah, well, it'd be even more extreme on Monday, their next home game they play here, and this is the reason why. Town's final game of the season is at home to Reading, the only team who can overtake them, so it'll be a straight shootout for Championship survival. Let's hope it doesn't get to that point and Town do the business here tonight. Elsewhere, there's one issue to be resolved in League Two. Now, Bradford City could have ensured that they go into their final game of the season with a chance of automatic promotion if they'd have won at Crewe last night. It didn't look good at half-time with the Bantams 2-0 down, but 2 goals in the space of 8 second-half minutes brought them level. The second saw flares thrown onto the pitch, something the FA are investigating and the club have condemned. But in the 12th minute of stoppage time, Crewe were awarded a penalty, which they converted. It means Bradford need at least a point at home to champions Leyton Orient on Monday to ensure they'll be in the playoffs. If not, there is still a chance Mansfield could sneak in. As for tonight, though, well, Huddersfield Town need that 1 point, don't they? You know, if they can do it, well, there might be an early coronation in this part of the world. You can see it now, can't you? Arise, Neil the First, the king of Kirklees.
I like that. Thanks very much, Chris. Live outside the John Smith Stadium.
I don't think many people will be arguing with that, will they? Now then, let's find out what's happening on the ITV Evening News tonight at 6:30 with Charlene White.
Coming up, bumper profits for another oil giant. Shell announces it made £1.4 billion more in profits than experts had expected in the first 3 months of the year. But why are prices at the pump still high? A pint fit for a prince and princess. Kate and William visit a pub preparing for the coronation. And the plea to let these pandas stay in Edinburgh after 12 years. Do join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
Thank you, Charlene. And it's the coronation that we turn our attention to next here on Calendar, because this weekend, of course, we'll see 3 days of celebrations marking the occasion. And lots of events are, of course, planned right around our region. It all begins at Buckingham Palace on Saturday morning. This is the scene there right now. It's from here at 10:20 precisely that the King's procession will begin, and from where King Charles will leave, bound for Westminster Abbey and to the coronation service itself.
And that is, in fact, where our reporter James Webster is for us right now. And James, how are final preparations coming along?
Yes, well, this is where it's all going on, Westminster Abbey. You can just see behind me here, and through the day I've seen various police escorts of outriders blowing their whistles, escorting no doubt very important people in and out of there, checking that everything is just as it should be for this weekend's coronation ceremony there, when this will be the focus of everybody's attention, and the bells in those famous towers will ring out in celebration, as they will in fact at churches right across our region too, some of them being rung by specially trained volunteers, as I've been finding out. It is a noise many would describe as quintessentially British. And the joyful sound of church bells will ring for the King across towns, cities and villages this weekend, including at St John's Baptist Church in Knaresborough.
We've got 8 bells and we've got between 12 and 15 ringers, so we're hoping to have everybody in the band, the learners, the beginners, the experienced ringers. We've got everybody to ring over the weekend. It's absolutely essential, I think, that everybody gets the opportunity to perform for the occasion.
All churches have been invited to ring their bells, with the Central Council of Church Bell Ringers appealing for volunteers to be trained up. After watching carefully, I've been given a lesson too.
Are you left or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Good. So you put your left hand on first, but your right hand is on top. That's your spare hand.
Okay.
Okay. Pull down, let go.
First it's the hand stroke, then the back stroke.
It's just a case of guiding it all the way down.
Okay.
It's not a yank or a big pull or anything like that. All the way down. Nationally, there's been initiatives to get more ringers to take up the art, which is the Ring for the King, which has been quite successful. I believe that the last figures I heard was about 700 nationally. It was gone through to the main database. Not bad.
How did I do?
All right, very good, yeah.
I think you're in action,
What are you doing next Sunday? Tuesday, yeah.
I'm not sure I've got quite enough coordination.
That was good.
Bells are the largest and loudest instrument in the world, and making them sound this good is more about technique than it is strength.
It's very technical. It's physically technical and mentally stimulating, remembering where you should be, what you should do next, and keeping in time with the rest of the ringers.
Well, I've been ringing for 60 years this year. It's just a great way to keep the brain ticking over. It's a lovely social aspect as well.
You feel part of something really big and something ancient that's been around for hundreds of years, and you're still part of that, and it's a great feeling, yes.
These bell ringers have rung for occasions of sorrow and celebration in the past, but for many of them this weekend will be the first time they've had chance to ring in honour of a coronation.
Well, hey James, I tell you what, it looks like you've got a new job there if you want one. But I'm curious as well to ask you, have any royal watches arrived yet?
Ian, yes, you do get a real sense of people starting to arrive here. We know that people have been travelling in coaches from our region down to here. Earlier on I was on the Mall just opposite Buckingham Palace and I just saw people starting to arrive carrying their pop-up tents, eager to get those front row seats and get the very best view. They're busy making their banners for Saturday and just getting everything ready, putting flags out saying where they've travelled here from, and also you get a sense of everything being really spruced up down here as well. All the gardens are so manicured, looking absolutely perfect. They've laid new grass in Parliament Square just up the road here. It's usually a rather dirty patch of dry mud. Everything is looking just brilliant. A real sense of anticipation and preparation and people soaking up whatever's going on to get things ready.
Oh, well, look, it looks like you're having a great time down there. Thanks ever so much, James, live at Westminster. So that's us talking about Saturday, but Sunday we'll see street parties. And on Monday, volunteers from our region are being urged to give up some time for the big help out. Almost 33,500 organisations have signed up to the nationwide volunteering event. And one of those is Riding for the Disabled, and staff from the Leeds area branch hope people will come and lend a helping hand.
I think the big help out will be fantastic to raise awareness, to get more volunteers to help us in our ability to get more disabled riders on ponies' backs.
People are going to hopefully be at home doing nothing, so they can do something worthwhile and come and help us.
Well, Kerry, can you lend a helping hand with the weather?
Oh, I wish I'd got dealing a better hand, probably.
Maybe hand out umbrellas.
Hand out umbrellas, that's what I need to do, yeah.
No.
Oh, earlier the better on Saturday, I think, unless you want a soggy cream tea. Although Sunday, if you're doing it actually on the street party day, which is Sunday, it looks pretty cloudy and pretty damp. The good news is it won't be cold. It will in fact be quite warm and humid and not particularly windy. So for any of those queuers with the tents or the marquees being put up, no real problems there. But the combination of warm and humid conditions mean we're going to get cloudy and showery conditions, and actually some of those showers could be on the heavy and thundery side. It all starts to kick off today. We've got the southwesterly flow there, so nothing too chilly, but you can see just a front after front all the way through into the weekend. So there is little respite in between to drier conditions or brighter conditions. So we might see one or two drier and brighter spells on and off, but yeah, not great, not great. It wasn't great today, was it? It was quite chilly. I mean, we did have a decent amount of sunshine, but this was fiery. A big thank you to Eddie for sharing. He said, you were right, Keza. It was very chilly, and one of our nearest data spots from the Met Office, Fylingdales, was around 8 or 9 Celsius max today, one of our coldest spots, and put on top of that we saw earlier with Michael and Marsden Moor as well. Coast and the hills, 30-mile-an-hour plus winds, so not great. But we've been having some beautiful photographs. Of course, it's coronation and everyone's celebrating. This is a brilliant bird's eye view taken by Marv Osborne of Thorne Memorial Park in Doncaster. You can see they've decorated it with a crown. There's a little bit of a close-up there for you. Absolutely brilliant. Also in Doncaster, down the road and round the corner, was this at the cathedral. A big thank you to Brian. And of course, I've asked for the yarn bombers. Keep them coming. There's Charles and Camilla all getting ready.
Oh, that's probably my favourite, I think.
Do you know what? It puts me in the mood.
It certainly does. Yeah, thank you.
You know what? It looks just like them.
I thought you were going to say it just looks like Kerry, but no. All right.
Now, whatever you're up to over the coronation weekend, we'd love to hear about it here at Calendar. And do remember to send us your photos of your street parties too. Just get in touch by emailing calendar@itv.com, calendar@itv.com.
Yes, it'd be lovely to see those photos. Finally, on such a special weekend, we thought that we'd show you some special pictures too. A little trip down memory lane.
Working with the Yorkshire Film Archive, we have some exclusive, incredibly rare footage of coronation celebrations in York, as well as a look back over the years at other royal events in the region. Sarah Clark has been looking.
In 1937, local butcher Henry Foster picked up his camera and captured these incredible scenes as hundreds gathered for a street party celebrating King George VI's coronation.
The Henry Foster collection is quite rare, previously unseen, probably since the late 1930s, early 1940s, when this footage would have been shown to the local community. And he actually went to the Hungate area of York in that year to sort of record the coronation celebrations. And it was quite slum areas, if you will, of the city. So to see all these people come out in the droves, you know, get all the bunting out and smile into the camera, and a camera which they've probably never seen before.
As well as this footage, staff at the Yorkshire Film Archive have also been looking back at other coronations. In 1953, Leeds salutes a queen with colourful and ornate decorations throughout the city. A few miles up north, and Knaresborough saw the whole community come together, with children dressing up for the royal occasion. And Sheffield had its own bespoke celebrations.
The Sheffield footage is really quite rare in that it's 1902, so one of the earliest films in our collection, and it shows very short, only about 10 seconds, but it shows trams all decorated for the coronation of King Edward VII.
At Ebor Court Care Home in York, residents were left reminiscing after being treated to a special screening of the films.
Does it bring back memories?
Some of it does, very much so. The street parties particularly.
Had a street party and we had lots of food, dancing. We had a fair because I remember there being a big wheel.
Opting for two wheels was 87-year-old Brian Kestevan. As a teenager, he cycled 100 miles through the night for a glimpse of his new queen.
There we were, and the whole procession came very close. We heard it coming, we heard the music, and the whole thing came past us, and people cheered, and giant carriages where you couldn't see who was in because it was raining too hard.
And whatever the weather brings this Saturday, the YFA hope the region's royal celebrations are captured on camera.
There's nothing more special than a coronation and a celebration and people coming together. And now obviously King Charles. So we're hoping people might be filming their celebrations and we might be able to preserve that, and we'll have that legacy of all these different coronations over the years.
Isn't it incredible to think there were some pictures there from 1902?
That's old, isn't it? Just like you. Looks lovely weather there for the last coronation. Will it be again? Here's Kerry.
Good visibility on the horizon. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello again. So a cooler and stronger wind across the region today. We definitely peaked, I think, weather-wise yesterday. A big thank you to Gavin Sheesmith for sharing this one on Twitter. And as we head into tomorrow, yes, some heavy and thundery showers could produce quite a bit of rainfall in a short amount of time for Friday and then into the weekend itself. Not cold, but showers or rain never too far away. So this has been the story so far today. We did see some breaks, a slice of sunshine ahead of this system that's now edging its way in from the south. So it turns increasingly unsettled from the south as we head into this evening and overnight tonight, with thicker cloud, winds eventually easing, showery outbreaks of rain, the heaviest and most persistent of those in the west over the hills. Misty and murky here as well as we head into the early hours as that milder air starts to import itself in from the south. A few sun dogs with that cirrus cloud yesterday. Big thank you to Sue for this one, 5:23 and 8:44. Are your sun times as we head into Friday. Cloudy and showery to begin at first tomorrow, then some warm sunshine developing, and then quite quickly those showers developing, and they could form in bands, producing a lot of rainfall, heavy, potentially with some hail and thunder mixed in there too. Temperature wise, in the sunny spells, in between, up to around 18 Celsius. The showers will disperse tomorrow evening. That could produce for Saturday morning a dry start, but increasing amounts of cloud as the system edges its way in from the southwest for the second half of the day. As we head into Sunday and Monday, quite a lot of cloud around, lingering we think for Sunday. Could produce maybe some brighter spells in the west for later, and then going downhill from the southwest later on Monday again.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
There you go. Whatever the weather, we'll have a good time, won't we?
We certainly will, and it's not your fault if it rains.
No. Well, we hope you have a good time this evening. We're back tomorrow night at 6, and Charlene's next.
There you go. Thanks for watching.
Good night.
Night.